The Grand San Juan Hotel stood tall against the crashing waves. Its imposing structure, a testament to the architectural brilliance of a bygone era, seemed almost defiant against the relentless forces of nature. The stormy skies above only added to its mystique, casting an eerie shadow over the grand facade. A majestic building. It held years of history. Each brick and beam whispered tales of the past, of opulent parties and distinguished guests. The walls, adorned with vintage photographs and antique decor, spoke of a time when the hotel was the epitome of luxury and grandeur. But within its grandeur lurked a secret. The dimly lit hallways and the creaking floors hinted at stories untold. Shadows seemed to dance in the corners, and an unsettling silence often enveloped the corridors, as if the hotel itself was holding its breath. Room 204. A room whispered to be haunted. The door, with its tarnished brass number, stood ominously at the end of the hallway. Many believed it was the epicenter of the hotel's mysteries. Tourists told tales. Staff avoided the room. Stories of ghostly apparitions and unexplained phenomena circulated among the guests. Some claimed to have seen fleeting shadows, while others spoke of cold spots and sudden chills. The air always felt heavier near room 204. A palpable sense of dread seemed to hang in the air, making it difficult to breathe. Even the bravest souls felt an inexplicable urge to turn back. A chill ran down your spine. Even the sunlight seemed dimmer, unable to penetrate the darkness that clung to the room. The atmosphere was thick with an unspoken tension, as if the room itself was alive with secrets. Some guests claimed to hear soft cries late at night. The faint, mournful sounds seemed to echo through the walls, sending shivers down the spines of those who dared to listen. It was as if the hotel was mourning a long-forgotten sorrow. Others, the faint scent of lavender, even though the hotel used only lilies. The mysterious fragrance would waft through the corridors, lingering just long enough to be noticed before disappearing into the ether. It was a haunting reminder of the hotel's enigmatic past. The stories surrounding room 204 were varied and chilling. Each tale seemed more unsettling than the last, adding layers to the room's dark reputation. A honeymoon couple, madly in love, left the room in the dead of night, pale and terrified. They had entered with joy and excitement, but their departure was marked by fear and silence. They refused to speak of what they had seen, their eyes haunted by an unspoken horror. The experience had clearly shaken them to their core. A businessman known for his skepticism checked in for a week. He was confident that the stories were mere fabrications, products of overactive imaginations. Yet he left after a single night, his face ashen, his belongings left behind in a hasty retreat. His skepticism had been shattered by something he couldn't explain. Maids whispered of objects moving on their own, of bedsheets that seemed to have a life of their own. They shared these stories in hushed tones, afraid of being overheard. They spoke of a cold breath on their necks when they were alone in the room, a chilling sensation that made their skin crawl and their hearts race. They described a feeling of being watched, an unsettling presence that seemed to lurk in the shadows, always just out of sight, of being completely alone, yet not alone. The room had an eerie atmosphere, as if it was alive with unseen eyes and unheard whispers. These whispers spread among the staff, fueling the legend of room 204. The stories grew with each retelling, adding to the room's infamous mystique. I walked through the grand lobby, my footsteps echoing in the cavernous space. The air, thick with the scent of lilies, did little to mask the underlying mustiness of the old building. My heart pounded in my chest, a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The receptionist handed me the key to room 204. His hand trembled slightly. He avoided my gaze. "Enjoy your stay, sir," he mumbled, his voice barely a whisper. His unease was palpable. It sent a shiver down my spine. Section 4, A Night of Terror. The old key rattled in the lock. The heavy wooden door creaked open. Room 204 was surprisingly ordinary. Sunlight streamed through the window, illuminating the dust motes dancing in the air, but the air felt heavy, oppressive. The sun dipped below the horizon. Shadows lengthened, twisting familiar shapes into menacing figures. A floorboard creaked. A cold draft snaked around my ankles. I tried to ignore the feeling of being watched. The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. I was not alone. Section 5. The source of the screams. A blood-curdling scream pierced the night. It echoed through the room, seeming to come from within the walls themselves. I sat bolt upright in bed, my heart pounding in my chest. The scream subsided. Silence descended once again, heavier and more oppressive than before. Another scream. This time I could have sworn I heard a name. A woman's name. The air grew colder. The scent of lavender, faint but unmistakable, wafted through the room. Terror, cold and paralyzing, gripped me. I was trapped. Section 6. The haunting of room 204. The next morning I stumbled out of room 204, pale and shaken. The night had been a blur of unsettling noises and eerie whispers that seemed to come from the walls themselves. I had barely slept, my mind racing with fear and confusion. I couldn't leave that place fast enough. My heart pounded as I hurried through the dimly lit corridors, every shadow seeming to move with a life of its own. The lobby, usually a place of comfort, felt like a gauntlet I had to run through. As I checked out, I asked the receptionist, "What happened in room 204? My voice trembled, betraying the terror I felt inside. I needed answers. Something to make sense of the nightmarish experience. He looked at me, his eyes filled with a mixture of pity and fear. It was as if he had been expecting this question, as if he had seen this scenario play out many times before. He told me of a young woman, a bride-to-be, who had disappeared from that room decades ago. Her story was one of love and loss, a tragic tale that had become part of the hotel's dark history. Her fiancé, distraught, swore he heard her screams. He was convinced she was calling out to him, trapped somewhere beyond his reach. His desperation was palpable, a haunting echo of the love they once shared. He searched for her, but she was never found. The room was left in disarray, a silent witness to his frantic efforts. Over time, the story faded into legend, but the room remained a place of sorrow and mystery. They say her spirit, heartbroken and searching, still haunts room 204. Her presence felt by those who dare to stay there. The air in the room is thick with her sorrow, a chilling reminder of her unfulfilled destiny. Her screams echoing through the halls, a chilling reminder of her tragic fate. Each night, the hotel comes alive with her sorrowful cries, a ghostly serenade that leaves an indelible mark on all who hear it.